This video is going to be covering clearing episode 3 as a new player. We'll be using 6 units, all of them completely free units. And it's worth mentioning that the 3-star requirement in episode 3 now just asks for either a fire hero, an ice hero, or an earth hero. You can just change your team around. You have one flexible spot, which you can just switch around to match or meet the element requirement if you need to. And also, doing this, I didn't use any supporters besides the ones given to you when doing it for the first time in the story, just because level 70 supporters are a little bit broken, so I just left them out to make it a bit more relatable. I'll mention again, we have the episode guide, which you can take a look at if you want. On my old alt, I was using a much worse team, which was Angelic Montmorency, Adventurer, Ras, Spectre, Tenebria, and either Mercedes or Iseria. This was years ago, so we had less free units. And also, because I was using a worse team, I died to more fights. So I have a bit more info here in case you get stuck on some stages that I didn't get stuck on in this run. So like Alencia, Paulus, sub mob stages, plus there is one more down here. I guess it's just that one actually. It's just Alencia, Paulus, plus some of the mob stages that I got stuck on when I was playing my old account. So if you need a little bit more info or you just want to check it out, you can go to the adventure, or the episode as it's called now, guide in the description. So these are 4 of the units that we'll be using: Brieg, Tamarinne, Mercedes, and Arbiter Vildred. The other 2 is sometimes we'll use Adventurer Ras in place of Brieg, and also sometimes we will be using Iseria in place of Mercedes. And I'm also recording this much later in the future, so the stuff that I'm using in the video might be a little bit older, like my Iseria was level 50, and so my gear might not be reforged in the video, but it's the same gear overall, and we can go over everyone's stats, and I'll also talk about how we can get the gear for these units. Let's put Brieg and Mercedes back in, and then we will take a look. First up is Brieg. This is just his Wyvern Hunt Challenge gear. I just enhanced all of it, and then reforged the ring and the boots because they looked okay. You can just give him his Wyvern Hunt Challenge gear, it's good enough, it doesn't really matter. Steadfast Gatekeeper is a nice artifact to reduce his damage taken. This is mostly for expeditions. If you find yourself needing it, you can give him Aureus to reduce the damage taken by the rest of your team. And of course we have one more knight to talk about, which is going to be Adventurer Ras. So Adventurer Ras, this gear here is the plus 15 gear we get from Path of Air. I just reforged the right sides, and you don't actually get this until you get through episode 3 or parts of it. We can see exactly where it is in the Path of Air guide. If we go back here, there should be a plus 15 HP gear somewhere. Yeah, so like the right side pieces you don't get until you clear chapter 9. And so since this is pretty deep in, we can talk about where else you can get HP set gear very early on in the Path of Air. There's HP set gear, which I have on Montmorency right now, but these are the ones that you actually have to roll yourself. But you could just put these on Ras with the login right side pieces, and something like this would be more than fine for Ras to just get through episode 3 with. And as you unlock the plus 15 pieces, if you like them more, like, I don't really need this much F-res, I might need a little bit more effectiveness, you could swap the pieces out. Or be something like this, you get the idea. And especially once you get the necklace and the ring, the accessories, which is admittedly all the way at the end of episode 9, but it's worth swapping them out as well. Unless you rolled super well on these, like this one's 16 speed. Artifact Aureus, actually this imprint usually wants to be on team, because normally it's your allies' HP that is an issue, not Ross's, at least for adventure. Or Aureus to help protect everybody a bit as well. So we can also talk about Tamarinne. Tamarinne, this is just her gear from Path of Air. You get this for completing her collection. Just max it all out, slap it on her, and you're done. Artifact, Magwaraha's Tome. If you don't have that, any healing artifact is fine, like Unfading Memories or Rod of Amaryllis. Next up is Arbiter Vildred. So when you're doing story, you actually want to be on Daydream Joker normally. If you have his EE, you can go get it. This is a min roll, but I'm not going to fish for hire right now. And for his gear, we can actually get this very easily. It's in the Orbis Guide, A Journey of Secession. Banshee Challenge here. We do 5 Banshee clears on normal difficulty, and you can do this with your Wyvern team very, very easily. Get Vivian, level 50, 3-star Awaken, and you get a speed and a crit set, which we can just take all of this, enhance it, put it on Arbiter Vildred. He's honestly a little bit too fast, but it doesn't matter. Fine-tuning his damage and speed can come later. This is going to be more than enough for him for now. And we also have Mercedes. Mercedes, this is her Destro plus crit gear from Path of Air with the Ogre Armory boots that also comes from Path of Air. So because this Destro gear also comes as you progress Path of Air, so it comes much earlier on in episode 3. We can see the Destro gear here somewhere. Here's the crit set gear after clearing chapter 3. And here's the Destro gear, the chest and the boots. And here is the sword and the helmet. So you'll get these very early on in episode 3. But until then, you can actually just give her the Arbiter Vildred gear that we just took from him, which would be this, the gear from very, very early on Path of Air. Just give him these, and also the Terrell Castle accessories. So this can be filler gear until you manage to get this gear from the Path of Air. So that's it for Mercedes, and now we have Iseria. If my mouse wants to cooperate with me. Iseria, I don't have gear. Like I mentioned, my Iseria was level 50 when I was doing story. I made her 60 for stats for Abyss, just the bulk mainly. And for her gear, you can honestly give her whatever. Like, you've been doing a bit of Wyvern at this point, you can just give her whatever random speed sets. You could also steal somebody's gear while you're doing this stuff. Like, I can just do this. There's like random speed set gear you'll get here and there. You could give her this leftover crit damage necklace. You could also just convert a couple of HP main or HP main necklaces. For the ring, you could give her this flat pack or this effectiveness main hit set ring from Arena. This more than covers the effectiveness she needs, and then any speed main stat boot works fine. I got a decent effectiveness one on hit set. Where'd it go? This one. But it's not really necessary. You could honestly just like run like this. 24 speed, good enough. And then for artifact, Song of Stars, you can steal it from Furious if you want. Gives you a chance to land target. You do more damage to the enemies, or you could just use something like Infinity Basket for more dual attacks. I wouldn't enhance Infinity Basket though, just leave it at +0 or however much you get from limit breaking it. So that is it for our team, our 6 units that will be moving in and out. Make sure you're filling the 3-star requirements so you don't have to do the stage twice. And now we can move forward to the first roadblock, which is going to be Mort. This boss fight here, Mort, is the first boss fight we're actually going to re-gear for. His mechanics kind of just make it so you have to strip him, and then if you miss a crit, he gets this Berserk thing, which needs to be stripped. And if he hits level 4, it gets pretty bad. So we're going to need some crit chance on our units, and also some strip. So for our gear, the team rather, will be using this. Since he's Earth, we can abuse Elemental Advantage, get 15 free crit chance by using fire units into him. So we switch Brieg for Ras, since Brieg is going to miss him a lot more often. And Ras has strip on his S1, Iseria for her S3 strip as well. We can check out their gear. Ras, I gave him a mixture of, this is mostly Brieg's gear. I just tried to maximize his crit chance. It's a mixture of Brieg gear and Arbiter Vildred's gear. So you see here, as long as you have 85 crit chance, it's fine. He's missing a bit of effectiveness, but there's not too much we can do about that. For his artifact, I'm using Steadfast Gatekeeper, just for the little bit of damage reduction, though you could use a lot of things here. And then, next up, we can take a look at Iseria. Iseria, I gave her mostly Furious's gear. Also, just kind of just maxing out crit chance plus Furious right sides mainly, because I do want her to actually have effectiveness, just so we can have one more reliable strip at least, since Ras doesn't really have any effectiveness. And I also gave her Song of Stars for a bit more debuffs. We've also got Mercedes, who at this point on Mercedes, we can get the +15 Destro and crit set gear from Path of Air. So she just has that, except I kept the boots on her from the Ogre's Armory boots from Path of Air, just for the speed, because I'd rather have the speed than the attack. And also for Artifact, we'll be using Daydream Joker. Tamarinne's just on her normal build. We're not going to change her gear at all. So there are 2 fights that you have to get through on your way to Mort, so just clear through these a bit, and it'll help you build up some souls as well. Now we're heading into the boss fight. You can see he immediately drops a bunch of debuffs, which is kind of annoying. I didn't really bother making sure that all my skills would be available, it just kind of happened. You might want to, in the previous stages, do a bit of manualing on the second stage and make sure that you'll have your skills up. So I'm missing a good amount of my skills here. Very unlucky dual attack, you can see I missed, and because I didn't crit, he has 1 level of Berserk now. Luckily our Tamarinne S3 is up. And our Iseria doesn't really have crit, so it's a gamble whether or not she crits. So I'm not gonna soul burn her or anything. It's inconsistent. We can use our Iseria reset on Tamarinne so she can S3 again right after this. And here, so you're not going to use Iseria S3 until Mort has a bit more of his Berserk. You see also I missed the crit there again, and he cleansed 1 debuff, which kind of sucks. Now we have a bunch of debuffs. One thing you could have done, I used S3 earlier just to pump a bit more damage, but you can opt to hold your Tamarinne S3 until Mort uses his S3, so you can cleanse the blind and the speed down. I am instead just going to S1 here as we hit. We hit and we strip the Berserk, which is nice. Tamarinne S1 also strips for us, though we missed. But Tamarinne isn't max crit, so we do still have elemental advantage though, which makes it a little bit easier. We dropped below half and he's going to use his S3 on us. If you want to, you can Soulburn S3 here, or Soulburn S1 for the healing. We don't really have too much to use our souls on, so... Tamarinne S3 is up already, so we're not going to use Iseria S3 or S2 just yet. We're going to wait another turn. We missed our crit there, so he did cleanse 1 of the debuffs, but at least we managed to get rid of the crit res buff. I can reset Tamarinne. We're gonna S1 here. Since we reset her, she has her S2 back up, but we're gonna reset to strip the Berserk. Now his third and final phase. This, it's just you have to crit him 4 times, and you'll be good. a Ras S2 is really good for this, because that's 1 crit, and that's 2. And we can just push everybody up with Tamarinne, and we'll have 3. And crit 4. And now he has target weakness, which is just, you just kill him. And that's the fight. The stage I cleared by accident on auto. It's clearable on auto, it's just kind of annoying. You probably just want to manual it once just to get it over with. The stage has a couple of things. One thing, I swapped out Brieg for Ras just because I think using non-attack skills is really, really annoying in this fight. So I opted to not use Brieg, well, because I was autoing. You could use Brieg on manual and you're probably fine. And then I didn't do any re-gearing. Also, since I cleared the stage, I don't have the Euphine supporter. That kind of sucks. Also, because Ilynav is Earth, using Ilynav is Fire, using an Earth hero isn't too useful, but the 3-star requirement does ask for an Earth hero. If you want to make it easier, you could drop Iseria for Mercedes or something, just for an easier clear, and then come back and deal with the 3-star requirement later. So for now, if you've just been autoing up until now and you haven't died yet, you might not have noticed these guys yet, but these guys are very annoying because I'm going to press Tamarinne S2, and you can see all of them are going to get a big CR push plus -1 turn, and yeah, things start happening. Their hit is just a big AoE plus the pushback, so it's pretty easy to just get yourself killed by spamming non-attack skills. That's mostly why I don't use Brieg here. And we're just going to kill the ads slowly and try to avoid dying until we get to Ilynav. So now we are at Ilynav. I would say you can try and kill the rangers, but they are pretty tanky. Mainly, the thing with Ilynav is just when these rangers attack, well, when they're not using S3, you can also see they do way more damage now. Like, my Iseria is not on tank gear, so she kind of just instantly dies. When the ads attack, she has a chance to dual attack when they attack, which is kind of annoying. I think it's kind of useful to just kill these first if you need to. Like I said, this clears on auto if you do enough attempts at it. You can just focus on down. They do kind of vaporize once you death break them. I'm gonna SQ Ilynav instead, just because there's a chance Frost misses since that one's ice. But we're able to kill it now, and we're fine. And this means we don't have to deal with the annoying CR pushes every time we use a non-attack skill for now. It would be a little bit easier if my Iseria was on tank gear, but I'm just limiting myself to 3 gear. And also, didn't really give you too many tank pieces in the starter sets. So even though we have S3, we're just going to hold it for a little bit. After she drops below 50%, here she summons a couple more people to help deal with, or help her deal with us. And then we'll hold all our skills here. We can soul burn this and it's fine. Heal up a bit more and then we'll face her in the next turn. An S1 here. And since her S3 is up, we're just gonna phase her. Because going below 50% is going to completely reset the cooldown of her S3 anyways, since she's gonna force use it to speed on up the tank too. pop our idol form. And we don't have too much to do with this area, since Ilynav is Earth. You can run the 50-50 into her. I'm just gonna S3 into the side guys, because we're gonna hit one of them anyways. And then as usual, we can just spam Ras S2 into the boss. And it'll pretty much be fine from here. It's just once you get those spearmen out of the way, there's not too much of an issue to deal with. Our Iseria died, but we're pretty much in the clear already. Two more good hit, we'll just use our key for fun. And we're through. Like I did say, since I cleared the mission already, if Iseria dies when you're doing this in the story stage, you've been able to pop in, who actually does do a decent amount of damage, so it'll be a little bit easier on your first clear. An honorable mention to Laika. I can't redo this stage with the story changes, but I'll just quickly talk about it. I did auto this stage, I just had to do a little bit of a change, which is I swapped Brieg out for Ras. And also, if you were using Iseria, then swap her out for Mercedes as well. Basically, the reason is, here, when the caster is debuffed after being attacked, activates Battle Response, and Battle Response attacks 2 random enemies, is stuff, bleed, CR pushback. The important thing is she has no cleanse in her kit. So you debuff her, she's going to stay debuffed, and every single time you touch her, she is going to counterattack you, and you are very, very quickly going to die. I actually never died on this stage before, until now, because we get Brieg so early now, I've never had to deal with this debuff issue. So, yeah. Just use Ras, Tamarinne, Arbiter, and Mercedes, and you'll be able to auto this very easily. Now we'll be getting into the final boss of episode 3, Belian. I cleared the entire fight on auto with this team, but I know a lot of people struggle with it, so I'll explain all of the mechanics of the fight. One thing is Archie is very nice to have here, so we're gonna use some Archie in the later phases, or at least you should. Worst case scenario, if you're struggling with this fight, you can just put in 4 tanky units. In this last slot, you can get a friend supporter and just put in like a second Tamarinne or something. You can have 2 Tamarins if one of them is a supporter. You could just do something like that. And just spam Archie the entire fight. She has no healing in her kit. So Archie the entire way will get you through the fight. Eventually, just very slowly. But either way, let's get into it. So I will be doing this fight mostly on auto, which leaves me a bit susceptible to bad RNG and dying. But generally, the way the fight mechanics work is, while these ads are alive, Belian will have a permanent skill nullifier. The only way to damage her is to kill all of these ads, then she'll summon another 3, you kill all of those, and then she won't summon any more. The other way is via dual attacks, because here, the first hit breaks a skill nullifier, second hit does damage. And any attacks that hit twice, like with Mercedes S2, get attacked buff here, it hits twice. Stuff like that also does damage. You can also see Mercedes got stunned there. Every time Belian uses her only attack in this phase, it'll stun the target with the lowest speed for 1 turn. Which is fine for us because we still have 1 DPS anyways. You can see here, this ad dies, we're going to hit her once, she's going to attack again, and this is the second set. Also, if you're doing the Archie strat, even though she has a skill nullifier, Archie does go through the skill nullifier. If I manage to hit 30 souls before she dies, which seems likely, I'll press it once. There you can see a damage number on the right there, so she does take damage from Archie. I actually had to kill all of the ads this time, but drop below 70% and we're into phase 2. So for phase 2, there's not really too much. It's just try to make sure you stay under $3, which is not happening here. I don't actually... This seems like it doesn't work properly. It says 3 or more buffs, but very frequently I have 3 or more buffs. You can see it happened for Ras there where he got stunned. Sometimes I have 3 buffs and I don't get stunned. Her damage isn't really too significant, so even though I'm autoing and I have 3 buff sources, which is Tamarinne Idol S2 is attack buff, plus her idol form is a buff by itself, Ras S3 is defense buff, and then Ras S2 is immunity. That's a lot of buffs. I get stunned sometimes, but it doesn't really matter. There's not really anything to say about this phase, because you just damage her until she's below 40%. So now we are in stage 3, and in stage 3, after she uses S3, she will have a counterattack buff. So this counterattack buff can be stripped by Ras S1, so you could use that to strip it if you want. You won't get it again until she S3s again. She still has her little stun thing on the slowest unit, but also added is it also applies a bomb sometimes. She'll just bomb you every once in a while. You can Archie spam this phase down. It's also just doable by autoing. We can wait for probably Ras's turn, because this is his strip turn. Okay, he cut. Forgot Mercedes was stunned. Using Archie on this phase is going to do a lot of damage. One more Archie kills her. We'll see whether we get the souls or she dies first. And she died first, so that's the fight. Clearing episode 3 also unlocks a Mercedes upgrade. You can just do the story stage. You'll get this artifact for her, which is pretty much her best in slot artifact. Gives her damage reduction and also has a chance to activate her S2 when anybody gets hit. And it also gives her a little buff that gives her 15% attack plus a revive, so a nice upgrade for an already pretty good unit. So you can see the upgraded Mercedes now, and you can just switch out her artifact to from whatever you were using to here, Magic for Friends. Magic for Friends, the effect doesn't change as you enhance it, though long term you should plus 30 it anyways, just for the base flat attack. And that is it for the episode 3 guide. Not that bad. It's really just Mort that can cause issues. Every other stage you can just auto. And episode 4 will be up next, of course, and hopefully this helped anybody who needed it while getting through the 3rd episode.